Hello and welcome to Adventures in Visibility. I am Denise Wakeman, your host and guide to more and better visibility on the web. And today is another adventure on Blab. This is my second show that I'm hosting on Blab, and I am very pleased to welcome my friend and colleague, special guest, Christina Hills. And this is her first Blab. Welcome, Christina.
Thank you, Denise.
Okay, so before I get into all of it, let me just tell you that at any time, if you have questions, be sure to post them in the chat. I'll be checking the chat out as we're going along. It's on your right side if you're on the, thank you for the directionals, Christina. That's on your right. If you're on the desktop, it's below the video stream on your mobile device. Sorry, I'm getting all confused here. And if you have a question and you want it to stand out, type Q, / Q, then a space, and then type your question. And that creates a label that stands out that says question. And where it makes sense, I will add it. Exactly. Christina has just demonstrated that for you. Very cool. All right. So my guest today is Christina Hills. And I've known Christina for a really long time. I can't even remember how long. I don't know, 8 years, 10 years, 9 years, whatever.
I think it might be 10 years.
Yeah, I think so too.
Close to that. Yeah.
2005. I think somewhere around there. That sounds right to me. So 10 years. Wow. So Christina is the founder of the Website Creation Workshop. And if you have a business, whether it's online or it's a bricks and mortar offline, you probably know by now that you need a website. And the reason for that is if you want people to find you on the web, you need to be visible. And one of the top ways to be visible is having your own digital real estate, and that is a website. So that's what we're talking about today. And Christina Hills is the queen of WordPress websites and how you can build them as a non-techie and a techie if you want. So let me just tell you, give a little background of Christina, and then we'll get started. Christina Hills is a speaker, educator, mentor, and internet marketing expert to non-techie entrepreneurs who want to build an online business using their website, WordPress as their website platform, sorry. She puts the fun into teaching technology and empowers business owners to be in full control of their marketing. And I have had the pleasure of being on webinars with Christina, being at live speaking gigs with Christina, and she is an excellent teacher. So I know we're going to have a great conversation today because she knows how to speak, she knows how to share her expertise, and that's what we're going to do today. So thank you for joining me today, Christina. Welcome.
Oh, you are most welcome, Denise. Happy to be here.
Yes, me too. So before we get started with my questions for you, I want to find out from you in the audience, do you have a website? And if so, what platform is it built on? So if you could just type that into the chat here so we can get a sense of, where you are. Do you have a website? And if so, what platform is it built on? Because I'm hearing from more and more people that they don't think they need a website. They just need to be on Facebook or Twitter or whatever. I'm also hearing about people, building websites on other platforms. So I'm just curious where you are. And Stephanie from Elevate in Home is on a WordPress site. Stephanie, you seem to be the only one brave enough to participate. So I really appreciate that.
Sam is on WordPress.
Sam's on WordPress.
And,
good.
It's okay if you don't, lots of people don't yet have a site. So it's okay to say you don't have.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's no judgment here because we know that people are coming on board on the web all the time. You start in different places. So I just wanted to get a sense of where people are. So right now we got 2 votes for WordPress. Excellent. So Christina, anyone who knows you knows that WordPress is your platform of choice. And before we really go deep into that issue, could you clear up what the difference is between WordPress.org and WordPress.com? Because that's a question I know you get all the time. It's a question I get all the time. So why don't we just get that one out of the way first?
Okay. WordPress.com and WordPress.org are both part of the same parent company. So they're two different divisions of the same parent company. WordPress.org is the self-hosted version of WordPress. So what does that mean? When you get a WordPress.org site, you're going and getting your own hosting account, getting your own domain name, installing WordPress, and creating your website. And that's what I teach, is the self-hosted version. The benefit of the self-hosted version is you can have any theme you want, you can have any plugin you want, you can do anything you want with your site, and there's no big brother or anybody else putting rules on you. WordPress.com is traditionally the more hobbyist platform that people are more, they're not taking their site as seriously as a business. With WordPress.com, right, they're both free. Okay, so let's just clear that up. They're both free. WordPress.com hosts it for you, but there's many more restrictions. There's a limited number of themes and theme designs, and if you don't know what a WordPress theme is it's the design for your site. It's the look and feel. And at WordPress.com, you can't use any plugins. So they give you a limited set of tools. Now, the other thing is, and I think it's still this way, but they have restrictions at WordPress.com with what you can or can't sell. So there's a little bit of policing that goes on with WordPress.com, whereas with WordPress.org, you can do whatever you want. You can sell your own products, you can sell other people's products, you can develop your own plugins, you can add plugins. You know, you can turn your site, you can go from a solo entrepreneur to a large Fortune 500 company on the self-hosted version of WordPress. So that's why I always recommend it. You know, why limit yourself?
Right. Okay, great. Well, I think that's pretty clear. So if anybody wasn't clear, you know, I think we got that. So another thing that's come up lately, you know, around for my clients and probably for yours too, is, you know, should I be building a site myself or should somebody else build my site? And I know that, you know, there's pros and cons to each. So I'd really like to hear your take on that and how to approach actually building a WordPress site.
Well, you need to think about, as a business owner, what are the things you're doing all the time? And the reason why I like WordPress and I like to teach WordPress is your website is your hub for all your marketing. You know, so Denise, you teach visibility. So you're out there on all the social platforms, but with everything you do, you're leading people back to your site. So that's your hub of your marketing, your presence, who you are. I really feel that all business owners should know how to manage and run their own WordPress sites. It's not that hard once you get over the, you know, a little tech hump. It's, for some people, it's not that hard to do. Installing your WordPress site is also not that hard, but it's not something you do every day. So you may decide, hey, the first installation, maybe I'll have someone else do it. I prefer to do it myself because I don't know about you, Denise, but my ideas always come Friday afternoons and Friday nights. And if you've got to wait for someone else to roll into the office Monday morning, you know, you're now into the next work week and you can't get stuff done. So I love being able to empower people to just manage their websites themselves with WordPress. And I also try to teach simple techniques because there's a whole range. You know, the New York Times is on WordPress. So there's a whole range of simple things and getting more complex. But with WordPress, that will grow with you as you grow and expand and make more money and bring on more assistants and team.
Yeah, I am in total agreement there. I started blogging in 2004, and I didn't know anything about WordPress. I set up my first site on TypePad, which is it's similar to WordPress.com.
I remember us talking about that.
Yeah, yeah. And, what I felt was so empowering about having a blog site was that I could do it myself. I didn't have to wait for anybody. I didn't have to pay anybody. And, over the years, I've used a lot of different blogging platforms. And, now my site's on WordPress because it got, more, I wouldn't say complicated. It just evolved more, and I wanted to have it much more customized. And also because I play a lot, I'm an experimenter, so I like to test things out. So I really agree with you that people should be empowered to be able to go in and make those changes themselves, or whatever it is that they think of at midnight on Friday night or first thing Saturday morning, and be able to do it themselves. So thank you for sharing that. Now, Stephanie asked, how do you tell if you have WordPress.com or WordPress.org? So I'm assuming Stephanie, somebody else set up the site for Stephanie if she's not sure.
Yeah, what you should do is log in as go inside, log in as your admin, and see if you have plugins. If you have plugins, then you're on WordPress.org.
Okay, easy way to tell. So great, thank you. Okay, so is there any time when you think that a webmaster should be taking care of a WordPress site? Just out of curiosity.
This is a great question. As a business owners, we need to look at what are we doing day to day, and where is our own personality, our own decision making come into play. And where you are working day to day and your decision making is coming in, that's where you need to focus on. So for example, writing your own blog posts. Now, maybe you have a ghostwriter, but still, that is your marketing, that is your personality. You need to know how to go in there, type in your blog posts, add pictures, and boom, publish it. There are some things that maybe you don't need to know how to do all the time. And then you have to decide you want to spend the money to have someone else do it. So here's a simple example. Keeping your WordPress site up to date, right? I meet so many people who are afraid to click the little update button. The little update button takes like 30 seconds. And if you're right in there, you can just click it and do it. But that could be something you outsource to someone else to have them come in once a week. But really, I think of marketing and working on the internet more like an exercise. And the more you do it, it's into your rhythm. And so you just get into the rhythm of going into your site, looking to see if you have comments, right? You're in there anyway, probably responding to people commenting on your site. I think having an assistant respond to people on your site as you, can be a little bit harder because it's your own personality. I know some people do it. So you want to think of what are the things that I'm doing all the time that I should be doing, right? As marketers, as business owners, we need to put our personality, our spin onto our site. So those are the things you should do all the time. If there's a problem, I would hire someone else.
Yeah.
So here's a simple thing. I do my own backups. It's pretty easy. I click the button, I do my own backups, and I have my assistant do a monthly backup. But if something should go wrong, I don't need to be that technical enough to recover from a meltdown, if there's a meltdown, because it happens once in a blue moon.
Right.
So if you've got a good backup, then hire somebody. Hey, it crashed or something happened. Here's my backup, fix it. So, you have to look at how often you're doing things.
Yeah. Well, I know I got to the point where for me, while I can do a lot of things, I don't want to take the time to do it. It's not in the best use of my time, which is what you're saying. You got to know where to put your energy. So I do have a techie who takes care of it, who checks everything to make sure it's secure, because there's so many bot attacks now. And there's a lot of customization on my, it's evolved so much that there's a lot of customization. So now it's like, you know what, would you just do it? Because I don't want to break it. No, not that it's so easy to break, but, so, in terms of learning WordPress, what would you say are the challenges to learning WordPress? Because I know you recommend that a business owner learns it. I do too. I always recommend know how your stuff works, and then you can turn it over to someone else if you need to. But what would you say are the challenges that people come up with when in learning WordPress?
The biggest challenge that I find people have in learning WordPress is not having a playful, childlike attitude, and they're too scared. They're scared to click. So many people are scared to click. They're scared to try things. And, that's why I have a unique way of teaching WordPress that helps remove that fear from people. But if you can get over the fear and get very playful, you're going to learn it much faster. And that's why, some people, they come to me and they've got a WordPress site and somebody set it up, so they're kind of scared. And the way I teach, I set up a practice site for all my students. So then in the practice site, they don't have to be scared because they can't break it. And that's the key, is not being afraid to try things.
Yeah. That's why you're a perfect guest for this show, in Adventures in Visibility, because to me, not being, that scared feeling, that's a place where you get stuck, I think. And that's why I, encourage people to business owners to embrace the adventures of learning these things, because there's nothing you can't fix, Right. There's nothing, you're not going to die if, your WordPress site, has a glitch on it. So, it's about embracing that mindset, if you will, of, let me try it and see if it works. And when it does, that's really exciting. And if it doesn't, someone's going to be able to help you get out of it. And, it's not that big of a deal. So I appreciate that, don't be scared. I mean, because I know a lot of people who don't do stuff because of that as well. So thank you.
And I really think it's a generational thing. My daughter's a millennial, and she did something, and I'm like, how did you figure that out? She's like, I don't know. I just kind of kept clicking until it worked. And I know a lot of boomers, they didn't grow up with that. They didn't grow up with technology. So this is new, and getting comfortable with not knowing things.
Right.
And that's what millennials do really well.
Right.
They don't know it. They just try it, and then it works.
Right.
And so if boomers and Gen Xers can just try things and see if it works.
Yeah, it's experimenting. It's all about the experimentation, right. I think. And, just embrace it, go with it, experiment, and see what happens. Most of the time it's going to be okay.
Right.
So what kind of websites can you build with WordPress? I mean, what have you seen with the people you've been teaching? You've taught hundreds of people over the years. What kind of sites are you seeing being built?
All kinds of sites. You can create, I like to tell people you should have at least one authority site, like one main site that's about your business. But you can have sites that are just opt-in sites. You could have sites that are just sites for your videos. If you, as your business grows, if you decide to take on affiliates and JV partners, and what affiliates are, is they're people who promote you and they get paid if a sale is made. So some people build whole sites for their sales team and affiliates. So then also, if you're selling online or teaching online, you can build a membership site, which is different from your public site. So it's a private site. So you can have your main site, you can have opt-in only sites where you land there and there's just a place for you to opt in. Build membership sites, which you only have visible to people who are your paying members that they can log in. So there's all different kinds of sites. And then, you've got sites for doctors and consultants and coaches, every different kind of business type. One thing you want to think about when you're building your site, whatever your business is the look and feel should be congruent with what your business is about. So if your business is about selling cupcakes, you don't want to have a financial look to it. You want it to be fun and playful and have visuals of cupcakes. And then if you're a financial planner, your site should have blues and look very like a bank, secure.
A little more conservative.
A little bit more conservative. So there's styles, and then there's function of what the site's for.
Right. And then, as you mentioned before, there are, huge organizations like the New York Times that are built on WordPress too. I mean, that site must be a monster.
Right. And then you want to think about, do I want interaction on my site? So do I want comments, and do I want people sharing on social media? And then, do I want people finding me in the search engines? And then you'll have sites where you don't want that. Like if you have a membership site, you don't want it to be search engine found because it's a private site. And if you've got a membership site, you don't want people sharing on social media because it's a locked down private site.
Right.
So
all of those, now I'm getting some feedback there. All of those pieces that you're talking about, whether it's shareable or not shareable, comments, not comments, private, public, etc., those are all features that you can turn on or off on the WordPress platform.
Right. So you can make it very custom. So WordPress comes trimmed down, and they call it WordPress Core. So that's the essentials of the software. And then they allow you to add on different plugins and different functionality as you need it, because they want the software to run as fast as it can. And they know not everybody wants a site to share on social media, or not everybody wants their site to be found by the search engines, or not everybody wants commenting. So it's all, plug and play, mix and match.
Yeah, it's amazing, because how many WordPress sites do you think there are out there? You must have this stat out in your head.
Shoot, I don't have it in my head. I do know 20% of the internet is run on WordPress.
Wow. Well, that's pretty big.
Considering WordPress is not that old. I think it came out around 2003-ish.
Okay.
So
okay.
It's not that, and it's growing.
Yeah, it's growing. So, what I'm just listening to you with all the opportunities for customization, and I want to talk about design in a minute, but, for all those options, there's probably no two sites that are the same in any respect, because there's so many different themes, there's so many different plugins, and, nobody's going to have the same list of plugins, because it's all very personal of how you want your site to function.
Right. And the great thing, when it comes to themes, you mentioned themes, two people can buy the same off-the-shelf theme. You don't need a custom designer. Two people can buy the same theme, customize it differently so it looks like no one would have any clue that they were using the same design. Change the colors, change layouts, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah, I really like that too, because, for me, I like to start with a theme, because, it's pretty much been tested, if it's a premium theme, and I'm going to ask you about that in a minute, but it's been tested, it's been vetted usually. And so I know it's going to work on some level, and then I can start, go from there to tweak it, because just to think of what I want, I wouldn't even know what I want. It's the seeing things to helps get it. Right.
Yeah, I don't recommend having somebody build you from scratch a custom theme design. I do not recommend that.
Okay. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, people think so. When you get a WordPress site, WordPress has a default theme, and they're okay. I'm never crazy about the WordPress default themes. then you can either get a free theme design, and remember the theme is the look and feel for people who are not familiar with WordPress, or you can buy a premium design. So it's off the shelf premium design. They're generally under $100, $50, $100. You know, some companies you pay one price and then you get access to all their designs. So every theme design company is different. But with a theme design company and you're paying under $100, then you've got someone putting more time and effort to the coding of your theme design. Then once you get it, you can often change the colors, change pictures, so two sites can look very, very different. And what I like, Denise, is getting a theme, learning it well, so when I build other sites, I'm already very familiar with it.
Right.
But some people come to me and they say, oh, I had a custom theme made by so-and-so designer, and now they've disappeared. And I go, well, do you have the original files? Oh, I don't know where they are. And then it breaks because the person's disappeared and you can't find them. Whereas if you get an off-the-shelf theme design, that company is going to be maintaining it and keeping it up to date. So for the price of $100 or less than $100, there's no way you're going to pay that to a designer to build you a custom theme.
Well, and also this is an investment in your business. And I know a lot of people like, well, I just want a free theme. I don't want to spend any money, but you know, you really are taking some chances there. And as you said, you know, if you're buying from a reputable company, there's a good chance they're going to be sticking around and they're there to support you. They have support versus, you know, disappearing, like you said. Now you've created a report about WordPress design, right? I mean, I have a link for it. Do you want? Can you tell us a little bit about that? What people can find, and I'll post the link to it too because it's a good report.
In my report that Denise is going to post out, it's about different theme designs, what to look for. It's lots of pictures, very easy to understand report, and you can just go there and opt in, and you'll get the download of that report. So what to look for, what to think about, some of the stuff we've been talking about, but with more visuals.
Okay. So before I open up for questions from the audience or bring people in if they want to ask a question, maybe this might be a little controversial, but I've been hearing a lot about Squarespace lately. It's really seemed to pick up again. I had a Squarespace site from 2005 to 2008, but now it seems to have a renaissance. So there's a lot of people saying that, you know, Squarespace is better than WordPress. You know, I don't know if you've heard these arguments, but I know you're a WordPress person, but what do you say about the other, you know, like tools out there for WordPress, for website design?
I tend to not pay too much attention to that controversy because I look at what are the big companies using, and they're not using Squarespace, right? So Squarespace is more for, and it's going to cost you more than WordPress. So it's a platform that, and Weebly is another one. It's a platform for people to get a website up, but you're going to hit a block. As your business grows with these other platforms, you're going to hit a block, and why limit yourself? So if you just kind of look around at, you know, what are the big marketers using? What are the big companies using? They're not using Squarespace.
Okay.
They're using WordPress because you want a platform that's going to grow as you grow and not be limited. And plus, the fees for those other companies are much higher.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and that's the thing that, you know, when I started in 2004, you know, I went on TypePad and paid a fee, and you know, I had like 10 sites on my TypePad account, and you know, then it was like, oh my God, yeah, I need to compress and compact and then move over and all that stuff.
But Denise, you know, back then, TypePad and WordPress were neck and neck. I mean, you were picking, I remember that you had picked, you know, one of the top platforms, and it's just that WordPress kind of took over.
Right.
At that point.
Right. Okay. So I want to open up if anybody has questions, I'm going to open a seat. And if you'd like to come into the video stream and ask Christina a question about WordPress, or website design or anything like that, SEO, I'm going to open up a seat. And if you want to come into the video, just grab that seat and I'll let you in. This is the fun part. So don't be shy. I think we got a shy group here, but
or they can also type in a question.
Yes, absolutely. You can also type in a question. So, Stephanie, you put, I have no eye makeup on today. Yes, well, I hear ya. So, what is your question about SEO then, Stephanie? If you want to type your question in, we can get that question answered. And if somebody else would like to jump into this seat, you're more than welcome to. And we'll go from there. So Stephanie says, I'm using Yoast. Is that the best?
The short answer is yes. The Yoast SEO plugin is the best. Used to be Yoast and all-in-one SEO, and Yoast has sort of edged out all-in-one SEO as the best plugin. Now, talking about SEO, I just want to remind everybody that behind SEO are humans. And so many people talk about SEO this, SEO that, but there's a human then landing on your site. So don't neglect that. Make your site look good and appealing for humans, because that's who's landing there. So that, it's a little pet peeve of mine. I get a little annoyed about all this SEO talk when it's humans who are trying to.
Well, and I think there's a balance there, because you want your site to be found in organic search, through search engines, and that's where good SEO practice comes in. So we need to be paying attention to that to a degree. And then also we need to remember that the person, like you said, the person that clicks that link in the organic search results, when they get on that site, it's got to speak to them. So it can't be in SEO speak or keyword speak. It's got to be in people speak. So Trudy is requesting to come in. So I'm going to open it up for Trudy. Welcome, Trudy. Do you have your mic on, Trudy? I can't hear you.
And while Trudy's coming in, I'll answer Elevate. Keywords are more important. So when you're writing your blog posts, and I call them blog posts, you can think of it as your newsletter. You don't have to think of it as your blog. It can be, your newsletter. So you want to get your keywords for that article in the title and in the article, but in a natural way. So that's important.
Yeah. So Trudy, we're not hearing you. So I'm going to close you out so that you can work on getting your mic set up. Again, there's an open seat. If there's open 2 seats, if anybody'd like to come on and ask Christina a question. In the meantime, Christina, I am going to ask you a question that I ask all my guests. And that is, if you would share with us your most memorable adventure. After all, this is an adventure show too.
Okay. My most memorable adventure, and I can't remember exactly what year it was. I was in Italy. I had done a junior year abroad in Florence, Italy, and I met an Italian guy, and he took me on with another couple on a boating trip in the Mediterranean, and I think we were going to the island of Elba. Anyway, we set sail on this sailboat trip, and all of a sudden this huge storm came. We lost our motor, we lost our rudder, and we were 24 hours at sea with these 15 to 20 foot waves just going up and down and up and down. There was a beautiful moonlight. It was pretty scary. It was like The Perfect Storm, that movie. But it was an amazing experience, even though it was sort of a disaster story. But it was pretty incredible. We had to we had to put life vests on, and we had to tether ourselves to the boat.
Oh, wow.
Because it was a situation, if you fell overboard, there was no saving you. And luckily It was warm and it was summer. So that's my biggest.
Oh my goodness. That, makes my heart race. That is an adventure. So I saw Trudy tried to come in again, but can you tell us a little bit about I know you've got a WordPress creation workshop coming up in the next few weeks. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that? Because I'm sure there's some people who would love to know about your program too.
Okay. My program called the Website Creation Workshop is a program that takes you through step-by-step building your WordPress site. And it is designed for people who don't have a WordPress site, or for people who have one, maybe a webmaster set them up, but they're just not confident working with it. And what I do in my program is we install for each student their own test site. So you don't need a domain name, you don't need hosting, you don't have to have your ideas all figured out, or you can leave your site alone that you might be afraid of breaking, and I will walk you through step by step how to set up, build, design, do your WordPress site. And then once you get all that confidence, I teach you how to move it over to your own hosting, or how to now take over your existing site. It's called the Website Creation Workshop. And I think if you get that PDF report, that will get you on the notification list. And we're starting at the end of the month.
Okay. And also you're doing a webinar about WordPress and you're doing a teaching webinar, right? About WordPress?
Yes.
So I've just put the link into the comments for your webinar also. And Trudy was having trouble with the sound. And Trudy, we answered the question, the difference between WordPress.com and WordPress.org at the top of the show. So I'm going to recommend that you when the replay is ready, to listen. It's at the very beginning of the show. It's like the first question we asked, because that is, as we can see, demonstrated here, it is a very common question. So thanks for asking that. Just go back to the top of the show. Are there any other questions before we wrap this up? We're at about 37 minutes after the hour, and I try to keep these shows at no longer than 45 minutes. So if you have any more questions, you can either pop on to the video or ask a question. And there's a good question from Stephanie too. I just love how you're participating, Stephanie. Thank you so much. How long should a blog post be?
How long? It should be as long as it needs to be. Really is.
Exactly.
And I know people hate that answer, but generally for the search engines, 300 words, minimum is a good number for the search engines. But you have to think about your audience. I know Seth Godin, he does these tiny little blog posts, and he posts daily. So it really depends upon your audience, what it is that you're talking about. But if you're asking in terms of SEO, 300 words is a good amount.
Is the minimum, yeah.
And the other thing I want to say about WordPress and SEO, WordPress is very forgiving. That's why I love this concept of it growing with you. You can go back to older articles and touch them up, or add more words, or refine them, or add photos to them if you didn't know how to add photos before and you wanted to post, and now you want to add photos later. So, and I see Stephanie's asking, how do I add photos to blog posts? Stephanie, you might want to join me in my program, but if you go inside your page or your post, there's an add media button, and you click on that and you can upload photos from your computer.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I want to jump on that question about how long should a blog post be, because I get that all the time too. And my answer has evolved over the years. As I said, I started blogging in 2004, and that was kind of on the beginning edge of people using blogs as a marketing tool or a business tool versus a personal journal. And in those days, we were saying, around 500 words, that was a good length, and you should be posting at least 3 times a week. And, you know, because the more content you publish, the more your site gets indexed. Well, now, you know, my advice is, as Christina said, is that it's got to be as long as it needs to be. And there are many blogs that are publishing, you know, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 word blog posts. And that's what their audience wants. They're deeply, they go very deep into a subject. They're very detailed. They're how-tos. And, you know, that works for them. And also for as far as how often you should be posting, I mean, again, that's got to work with your schedule, because the worst thing is, I'll tell you my opinion about the worst thing about having a blog is if you don't post on it. You know, you need to be consistently producing content. So you've got to figure out what that schedule is for you. So if it's once a week, do it once a week. I would say you don't want to do it much less than that, but maybe it's twice a week, maybe it's once a week, maybe it's every day. You know, sites like Social Media Examiner, they publish once or twice a day, every single day, except for Sunday.
Right.
They don't publish on Sunday. But, you know, and that's what their audience wants. And they have almost half a million, you know, they have almost 500,000 subscribers. So, you know, depends on your audience.
Right. Yeah. So you have to find what works for you. I think when I first started, I wasn't posting that often. It was maybe every 3 weeks or 4 weeks. And now I publish every week, pretty much every week. And I would like to do twice a week, actually. But again, you have to think about your schedule, your rhythm, and what's going to work for you.
How does it serve your business? Sam asks, what would be your choice for e-commerce plugin for a small business?
WooCommerce is very popular for a plugin if you want to sell products, or Easy Digital Downloads is another popular one. They're both free. And then if you are a nonprofit or a consultant, you're going to want to look at the Give plugin.
What's up? Hey, old lady. Hey. Oh my God.
Hi, do you have a question?
How you doing?
Do you have a question for Christina? Okay, it looks like okay. That was
a photo bomb.
That was a photo bomb. That was crazy. All right. You get it all here on Blab. All right. So I'm going to wrap this up because we're just about at that time. And where would be the best place for people to find you online, Christina?
You can go to websitecreationworkshop.com. And you'll see the free report link. You can follow the link that you gave. You can find me on Twitter at Christina Hills. You can also find me on Facebook at Christina Hills. Just search for me. So websitecreationworkshop.com is my main site.
Okay, and I just posted the link again to the design report, which is a very good report. So I encourage you to get that. And if you do have any additional questions, feel free to post them in the chat here. We will, you know, check that out. I'll check it out afterwards. It continues to live. You can get advance notice of Adventures in Visibility at adventuresinvisibility.com. You can also take Adventures in Visibility on the go with you as a podcast. It's available on iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. You can get that at adventuresinvisibilitypodcast.com. Christina, thank you so much for joining me here today. I really, really appreciate it. I'm glad I was able to, you know, be the host of your very first lab. That's really exciting. And I am so thankful for those of you who joined us live in on the show today. It's always great to have an audience. Thank you for tweeting it out, and we will see you around the web. Have an adventurous day.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Oh.